So hello and thank you everyone for joining me today. My name is Michael Smith, the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada. And yes, I'm back from the Janome Sewing and Learning Centre in Oakville, Ontario for another fabulous Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. Now, I'm down here at the office doing, as usual, double and triple duty. One thing that I'm doing now the last yesterday and then we're doing today and tomorrow is counting all the inventory. Because you know the Janome Sewing and Learning Centre, the front half of it is the classrooms. As I'm here, you can see some of my beautiful Janome machines here. But then, you know, and the offices are here as well for our Janome Canada headquarters, our Janome HQ. But, you know, in the very back of the building is the warehouse. So all the goodies that Janome has. Now, our machines are actually kept in a separate warehouse. Janome Canada's got a couple of warehouses. So the machines are kept in one. And today, on Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour, there we go, I thought we would show and talk about, ooh, ta-da, some fabulous goodies that are in our warehouse here at the Janome Sewing and Learning Centre. And these goodies are excellent to help you no matter what magical machine you may have. Now, particularly, these would be great gifts as we're looking into, you know, we're already March. So maybe as we're looking ahead to, you know, like Mother's Day, and maybe Father's Day, you know, as any sewist in your life, or perhaps someone is, you know, new to sewing. Everybody was getting back into sewing, doing all the mask making during COVID. So they may already have a machine, or again, they're going to take up sewing. And you would like to give them a little extra goodie to continue their sewing journey. So how about some excellent tools that go along with no matter what Janome machine you have? Things like, oh, everybody could use more bobbins, for example. So the cool thing, almost all Janome machines, there are a few exceptions, but almost all Janome machines use the same Janome J bobbin. These are class 15 in size, and these, they come in, you know, regular clear ones, but then you can also get these very cool, this is a pack of 25 beautiful red bobbins. Or if you would rather, again, Janome celebrated 100 years last year. We're still in that 100th year mode. So these are the special 100th anniversary commemorative logo here with the pink bobbins. So again, a pack of 25. So these will work with, again, almost every Janome machine. So especially if these are gifts, you don't have to worry about, oh, what machine do they have? Again, they'll work with almost all of them. Now, speaking of bobbins, ooh, yes, we have things, if you don't have any of those cases, you know, or even if you do, you know, sometimes those cases can fall and, you know, it's plastic. So if it falls on the floor, it may break. So maybe you want to keep your bobbins here in this Janome Bobbin Saver. Now, this is very cool because it's like this rubbery, grippy surface here. So I have room here for 6 Janome J bobbins, but also our HD9 bobbins, which are 1.4 times bigger, will fit in here. And even our large Quiltmaker Pro bobbins, the M-Class bobbins, will fit in here as well. Now, they fit, again, 66 of the Janome J bobbins. If the larger HD9 and Quiltmaker Pro, the M-Class bobbins, you know, you're not going to be able to fit 66. But again, because of the rubbery surface here, then it will stretch to accommodate your bigger bobbins. And definitely the more organized that you are, the faster and easier your sewing is. Then you don't have to worry about trying to find bobbins. They're neatly kept in position. And this way too, again, all the little tails of thread, you don't have to worry about them all getting caught up in your drawer. They're nicely stored. And this way, when we do open the Janome Sewing and Learning Centre, as we're hoping to do later, maybe late this spring, early summer, and if you're coming to a class, then boom, you can keep all your bobbins in your Janome Bobbin Saver very quickly and conveniently to grab whatever you need. Now, oh, Cindy's here. Hello, it's great to see you. Now, when we want, again, keep things at hand, very convenient, how about this Janome Pin Pal. Now, yes, we could keep our pins here, but I love keeping the screwdrivers that I need to either change out my needle for the serger, which is great with this little skinny screwdriver, or then the usual screwdriver that when we change out our foot holder of our machine. Again, it's great to keep these in hand. And then, yes, one of the questions that was asked in our Ask Janome HQ segment, which is again every other week, live, then yes, so long as your clips, the question was, will these clips work in the Pin Pal? And so long as your clips have some metal in it, well, yes, they work very beautifully. And then again, ooh, nothing is falling anywhere. So you keep all your tools at hand very conveniently. I take this everywhere I go. So it's wonderful to keep everything that you need. Or, you know, if your friends are maybe an Elna lover, that you have someone in your life with an Elna machine, that yes, we even have an Elna version of it, you know. And then, yes, even your little snips can sit in there. I often have my mini duckling scissors on my Pin Pal as well, because again, I never want to lose track of these. So again, we've got lots of things to keep all your sewing tools, you know, handy, and that way your sewing experience is more enjoyable. You're much more productive. How dangerous are magnets around your machine? Oh, Grandma Crow's here. Hello. This is the thing, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when computerized sewing machines were coming out, the concern was, oh, don't have a magnetic seam guide too close to your computerized machine. But, you know, over the years, technology has changed. Those computer components, you know, like everything has shrunk. They've gotten so small and so sophisticated. Think of like the cell phones, the mobile phones. Initially, when they came out, you know, 30 years ago, they were huge, like a big brick. And now they're, you know, smartphones are so small. All those little microchips, you know, are very well contained in sewing machines. So now it's perfectly fine to have like your Pin Pal next to your machine and on the bed of your sewing machine. For example, you're not going to mess up anything of the computer components. You're not going to hold this up to your LCD screen, for example, but even if you did, you know, I doubt there'd be much damage, because again, all those computer components are well contained within the machine. So yeah, that's a great question. So yes, that keeps tools close by. And then when we talk about, oh, how are we going to store things to, again, keep things close by? Did you know Janome has this adorable, look at that, it looks like a giant spool. This is actually a trash can. One of those, you know, you put your foot on and then, ooh, the lid, boo, pops up. And then there is a removable, you know, liner here. So this is really technically a trash can, but I think it's too beautiful to use for trash. So what I do with mine, look, do you have some big pieces of batting, for example, or even little pieces of batting? Maybe you're going to save them all and make a dog bed with them. So this would be a great place to store, again, these bigger, bulkier scraps of your batting, let's say. Or how about you want to throw your scraps of fabric in here? So it doesn't have to necessarily be trash. Again, I think it's too beautiful to use for that. So for me, this is what I use here in my classroom. I keep the big things of batting in there and just keep squishing them. And then eventually I like turning little scraps like that into, again, dog beds, something, you know, that I can give away. So I'm not actually throwing anything away. I really love to try to use everything. So this way, by having this cool, again, Janome like trash can, you can stay more organized. Your area can stay nice and clean. You're much more productive. Now, also, I've shown these a few times now on various Janome presentations. These are our smart boxes. Now, here is a whole stack of them. The actual individual box is here. Now, they come individually, but again, the cool thing about these smart boxes is that you lay them one on top of the other, click that closed, and then now I can take this whole stack to my sewing area. Maybe we don't have a sewing room. Not all of us are blessed with a sewing room. So especially for a new beginner sewist, maybe they're sewing on the kitchen table. So how great that they can get all these smart boxes, or again, as a gift for a new sewist in your life, you can get them many smart boxes. You could stack these all the way up. And then this way they can keep all their tools, things like, oh yes, the pin pal, for example, can fit in here no problem. And the Janome Bobbin saver, boom, that can fit in there as well. So you can keep all your tools, your extra bobbin boxes can all go in here, all your thread, or again, because I save every little piece of fabric, how about this? Ooh, to organize your scraps. Now at home, I keep a drawer full of 2.5-inch strips, for example. So when I finish cutting out my piece, if it's a quilt or a garment or whatever, then I like to cut up, instead of all these raggedy pieces of scraps, I like to actually cut them up into finished units that I could use for other purposes. And in fact, I have a video on the Janome HQ YouTube channel about cutting up your scraps. And I keep them all in these shallow drawers, and I cut them all to commonly used sizes. 2.5-inch, for example, we use 2.5-inch strips a lot in quilting. We could compose our own jelly rolls, for example. So this way, these smart boxes, again, how great you could have your 2.5-inch strips in one box. Or, because I have so many scraps, I have a drawer, or in this case, it could be a smart box full of 2.5-inch light strips. And then you could have a 2.5-inch dark strip smart box. And then you could do a maybe 2.5-inch square smart box, and maybe a 6-inch square smart box, and a 5-inch square smart box. And if you cut your own 5-inch squares, that's like a charm pack. So you could, offset your purchased charm packs, or create your own charm packs and keep them all neatly stored. And again, the ingenious thing of the smart boxes is that they all click together and stack together. So this way, again, you're going off to a class, or in your sewing room or your sewing area, you keep all of your thread, all of your tools, everything neat in order. And then, yes, you can keep your scraps and everything there. Boom, all connected. It's beautiful. So you can stay organized that way. Now, I really am excited. I'm excited to show all of this, but especially something I've referred to, but I haven't really shown these a tremendous amount. But as again, we're doing inventory here at the Janome Sewing and Learning Center at our Janome HQ headquarters, Janome Canada headquarters, these gorgeous Janome scissor boxes. They say Janome, they're gorgeous. And I asked for years. I asked my boss, could I get one? Could I get one? Could I get one as a sample? And finally he said, okay, yes, fine, you can get one. So here is my sample. Oh, Cheryl's here. Hello. Are those rectangles on the side for labels? Oh, are you talking about the smart boxes like here? You could stick a little label in there, either a paper one, or even you could stick a sticker on there to label your boxes. Yes, that would be great to stay even more organized. But yes, the scissor kit is absolutely gorgeous. So again, especially a new sewist. Now these are an investment, no doubt about it. In usual Janome fashion, they went to the manufacturer of chef knives. Those chef knives that we all get in those gourmet boutique stores that are not cheap. But again, they're going to last you forever. My partner Joe is a chef by training, for example. He has had a set of knives for 20 years. These scissors are an investment. You will have them, I swear, for 20 years. So, all about crafts. Hello. So that is the thing, especially when you're a new sewist. Don't skimp and think, I'm just going to get any old scissor at the dollar store. Well, no, you're not going to get those same kind of good quality results. So this would be, again, a perfect gift for that sewist who has everything. They probably don't have this. Or as a new sewist, definitely treat yourself, or again, to get as a gift for someone. Every scissor that you need and more is in here. So let's get right into it. So things like these 6-inch embroidery scissors. Now these are very cool because of that offset handle. You'll see the actual tip of the scissor is curved up. So this is very handy. Ooh. And here I was doing a little sample before you arrived on my fabulous Janome 9850 here. Look at all those beautiful lips. Everybody could use more kisses in their life. So look at this in my embroidery hoop here, and because of the offset nature of these handles, I don't have to worry about trying to get down close at a weird angle because of the thickness of the embroidery hoop here. I can lay my scissors out flat and then just angle them up a little bit to snip them super close. If I had any threads loose here in my embroidery, for example, you can get right down into the tip. And again, we don't have to worry about hitting the embroidery hoop here at all because of the offset nature of the handles. So these 6-inch embroidery hoops or embroidery scissors, again, Janome really thinks of everything to make things so easy. You can see as well as I talked about my little mini duckling scissors, what I absolutely love, the same thing, offset, so it makes it perfect to use in the embroidery hoop. And then with the special duck bill on the bottom, then we can avoid trimming the bottom layer of our fabric, especially when we're doing in the hoop applique. Now, if these are 4-inch, these come separately. So in your kit, though, you get a larger 6-inch pair that have that same duck bill. Celine says, kiss me quick. Yes, with all those beautiful kisses. Absolutely. And don't you love that red lipstick? Ooh, I love it. So yes, with our duck bill scissors here, again, perfect for in the hoop applique in particular, because again, that offset nature of the handles will, easily, easily go down into our embroidery hoop, and we can trim away if we had a in the hoop applique, for example. Or in this case, here's my little sample of our, I'm doing like this little sample of a rag quilt, for example. And if I wanted to, trim this batting away, but I don't want to trim this lower layer of the black fabric. So by having the duck bill underneath, I can get right up close. And again, these are super sharp. I can get right up close. And because of that duck bill, then I know I'm not going to trim the fabric underneath. So again, for your in the hoop applique, these are 6-inch that come in your kit. Or again, separately, we've got the 4-inch mini duckling scissors that, again, you can get right up close and don't have to worry about trimming that bottom layer. So that is fabulous. So that is in your beautiful scissor kit. Now, also, sometimes you need, just to trim off those errant little threads. We've got these cute little snips. I use these on my Quiltmaker Pro long arm, but again, they're handy anywhere. Just if you've got a loose thread hanging anywhere. And again, they are curved, much like our embroidery scissors. So great to use in the hoop, to trim your embroidery threads, but just to trim any thread period. And they've got like that spring action. So they're not actually going to clamp closed, but they help make, to trim very easily because of that. So these snips are included. And you'll see too, by the case, everything is molded into place. So when you're traveling, again, just clip this closed and away you go, pick up the handle. It's gorgeous. So what a great presentation, again, as a gift, but also again for traveling. Perfect. Lay it up next to your machine. You've got everything here. Everything stays, again, neat and organized. Nothing is banging around and falling or anything. There's a compartment for all your scissors. And that way, when you know, hey, I've got a pair missing right away. So these are 6-inch standard scissors, again, great for trimming all around. They kind of remind me of those hair cutting scissors, which I suppose you could use it for hair cutting. If you designate these for hair cutting or paper or whatever, I personally would put a little ribbon or something around these to know, okay, these are for paper. I'm not going to use them for fabric. Again, they're super sharp, so these could be your general all-purpose craft scissors. Even, again, there's a scissor for every purpose. So those are included. And then, oh yes, the big Mac Daddy pair, the beautiful 9-inch dressmaker shears. Now, when I graduated fashion design college many years ago, my mother actually bought me, again, they were an investment, a pair of these big dressmaker or tailoring shears, which I still have 20-something years later. Again, you invest in your tools and they will reward you with being, so quick, so easy to use. These big dressmaker shears when you're, again, trimming out your garment patterns, for example, or anything like just, you can even hear how sharp they are. It's amazing. And even I don't have to be always in the mouth of the scissor. They can look like right to the tips. That's what I'm most impressed with. Many times to cut like way in the jaw, the mouth of the scissor, that's usually not a problem. But trimming close, that's where you can tell quality. Most scissors, you buy very inexpensively, you can't cut right to the tip. These, you can cut right to the tip. It's amazing. So these 9-inch fabulous scissors. Sandra Mugman, I have a couple of Janome scissors, but I would love to get this box set. Oh, yes, Sandra, I agree. Again, I asked for it for years. I wanted it because, again, it's a beautiful presentation. Everything you need is in one spot. Things like, again, even these little 4-inch that, again, these could be your little craft scissors, or again, when you talk about trimming right to the point, look at those tiny little points. So if you wanted to get right in there and trim around a pattern, trim around an applique, look at that sharp point that you have right there. So again, perfect craft scissors. Oh, if you're doing tote bags and you need to get in and trim away maybe some of those thicker layers, but it's so bulky, it's hard to get a big pair of scissors in there. So this perfect little 4-inch pair with that tiny little tip gets right into the point where you need it. And then again, everything hangs up beautifully. Now, to me, all of our Janome sergers come with tweezers, but you can never have too many pairs of tweezers. These are perfect. And again, that offset little tip to the scissor or to the tweezer. So again, you can get right down to pull your threads. You get right down to, again, lift up your applique if you're doing any sort of finessing, that they are so precision, so precise right down to the tip. So, and of course they all say Janome on it, so that's even better. But yes, these scissors are tweezers are so perfect to use to, again, thread any of your machines. Fantastic. And again, you can get right in there, right under your presser foot of your machine because of that offset nature of the tweezer. So those are included in your scissor kit. And again, we've got another pair of snips here. And again, these, you decide how you are going to use these, but these two have a little offset, so perfect. They're a little curved, so again, perfect for your embroidery, to trim your embroidery threads. But again, if you want to do some clipping, no problem. They can handle anything. So because of that slight curve, again, they're ideal for the embroidery hoop. They're a little bigger, so then it's good to, you'll never lose them that way. Some of those little scissors, and two, some of those little scissors, it's hard to get your fingers in because they're too little, whereas these are quite generous. The finger holes are generous, but the scissor is slim where you need it. So then you can get your fingers in very easily. And especially I find as a guy, I mean, my hands aren't super huge, but they're bigger typically. So then I often have a challenge of using those little fine embroidery snips. These I have no problem at all. And again, you can get right down into the tip. So they are fabulous. And then, oh yes, last but certainly not least, you must be careful with this, is your Janome surgical seam ripper. Look at that. And then this package, you can see it's a surgical blade. So you must be very careful with these. Now I wanted to show you, when you open your package, it's very good that you open it up like this, like a Band-Aid packaging. So then that way you don't have to worry about cutting yourself. You know, you're not ripping this open. You're just opening it like that, and then the blade itself is in the middle here. So it is very safe to open this packaging up, and then you just unscrew this little screw, pop in the blade, and screw it back on. Always keep your guard when you're not using it. But yes, this surgical seam ripper, if you have to rip out, ask me how I know, if you have to rip out some serger seams, for example, or your cover hem seams with all those extra threads, this is where your surgical seam ripper is really ideal. But you can just get in here so easily and cut those threads. Or a lot of the times, if you're using it with your seam line, and then you can get in right between and cut those threads. Now, it will cut your fabric very easily, so you do have to be careful, but then you can get right in and trim off those, get those threads. Like, it really works very well. And particularly, again, imagine I should have had a serger sample here, that again, you get under and you trim and cut all those, if this was a serged edge, and you trim all of that away. It makes it so easy to remove, again, your serger, cover hem, all those extra threads. Or if you've got a heavier thread, a 30 weight or even a 12 weight thread that you're trying to cut with a regular seam ripper, and it's not working because they're thicker, then this surgical seam ripper will definitely do it. And again, stays up there nice and beautiful. Now, speaking of scissors, oh, did you know that if you just want a good pair, these are about 8.5 inches, I believe, just regular red-handled Janome scissors. You know, again, if you're cutting your fabric for your garment patterns, or, cutting out your tote bags, whatever it is, just general cutting. Or if you wanted, for me, I've designated these in my classroom because I have all of these. So this pair has become my paper cutting pair, because I know the red plastic handle, this is my paper cutting, but these are still perfectly good, sharp scissors to use for fabric, whatever you choose. So these are available separately. And then, if you are getting into quilting, especially, and again, a new sewer, a lot of people like to, again, as my little rag quilt sample here, I've never actually made a rag quilt, but I would like to. They look like so much fun, where you basically just sandwich your pieces of fabric together. I've got my batting and my backing and my top together, and then you seam them together. So it's kind of like a quilt as you go. Again, on one side, it's all finished, but at the other side, your seam allowances are exposed here. And then what you do is come in and trim all of this. This is great to use flannel fabric, because then you wash this, and this trimmed edge gets all raggedy, hence the name rag quilt, and it becomes all nice and fuzzy, especially if you use, again, flannel. That works out really, really well. So in order to do all this trimming, well, yes, any of these scissors would work out beautifully, but Janome has a rag quilt snippers, and these are very cool. They have this safety feature. Janome's all about safety first, so this little latch here keeps them closed, and then we just push up, if I got to get on the right side, push up the latch to open them, and then this way, boom, yes, we can use our rag Snips, again, right to the point. Now, we don't want to trim our seam allowance, but we want to cut up to it. And I hope you can hear like how sharp they are. And again, I can get right to my seam allowance, like amazing. They are so good for that. And then, yes, you'll have to do a little cleaning after you do all your little snips, but they're so fun. So especially now, again, I've rediscovered these. These have been in our warehouse for quite some time, and then, you know, I just kind of forgot about them. And then now that we're doing inventory, I went, hey, those rag snips, those are really cool. And yes, I want to then make a rag quilt, which I've never done before. So I think how fun. Again, when you've got the right tools for the right job, your results can be so much better. It's so much more enjoyable, so much quicker, easier to do. So that, in a nutshell, as usual, my time is already flying by. So that is a little whirlwind of some of the fabulous products that your Janome dealer may have either in their store or certainly in Canada. We know that, yes, your Janome dealer can order all of these products. They all happen to be in stock in Janome Canada warehouse. So, you know, yes, definitely connect with your dealers and say, hey, I want those rag snips, for example. Or again, especially as gifts when you think, oh, that my friend is a sewer and they've got everything. Then again, any of these, everybody would love. They look so good in your sewing room too. So why not? So thank you everyone for joining me today. It's wonderful to connect with you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all next week for Ask Janome HQ. If there's a specific question or anything that you would like answered, please ask it on our Janome Canada social media or Janome HQ social media. I'll try to answer the questions as they come in live, if I'm able to, and if not, then it'll be an upcoming presentation, for example. So thank you, everyone. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next week. Thank you so much. Bye.